Yes, hello guys. Oh boy. In college looking for jobs. Good luck. Hopefully it goes well. I think this field is one of the lucky ones though these days. Um, in high demand. Not I don't know, not necessarily Android, but software and things like that. Boy, and stuff is going on. We're preparing for a new release and stuff is a bit on fire, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So I'm just gonna put my laptop on the side so I can keep an eye on it. Otherwise, just gonna be doing another code review today. Goodman is here as well. How's it? Sorry, I'm a bit distracted at the moment. Okay, so just find the code first. Android Studio. Oh boy. Alright. Again, tell me if the music is annoying. Trying something more upbeat this time. Download. What? How does this thing work? Oh, yeah, that's weird. Weird. He has multiple branches. Am I supposed to use develop branch or main branch? Fire is an understatement. Fire, it can be good, because then it, lights stuff on fire and then encourages people to get a move on. I want to just compare these two branches and see if there's anything different between develop and main. I don't know, I'll just go with develop, I guess. If stuff breaks, I can try master. Or main, rather. Okay, as usual, just gonna open it in Android Studio first and anonymize it. And then we'll see what's up. What? Come on, open, please. Invalid JDK. On the plus side, it's Kotlin files. What is this? Okay, I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm gonna not look at the code now. Let's find it interesting class. Just waiting for Gradle sync, as per usual. Oh, nice, using Gradle plugin 7. Hilt SQL Delight. Jeez, a lot of dependencies in this project. Compose even. Oh, hectic. Nice, I like that. First project I'm seeing with Compose in it. Or first code review for it. So I don't know if I'm going to be qualified. We'll have to see. Just downloading dependencies. Yes, first Compose project. So let's just see here. I don't need to really anonymize it, or do I? Let's see. Yeah, it looks pretty set, just about. Oof. Okay, I do need Java 11 for this project. First Compose project, indeed, so we'll have to see. See if I know what's actually going on or not. Okay, just doing a build, and we should be sorted. A bit slow, I don't know why. Doesn't seem to be that many files in it. Oh. Huh. That's interesting. What is happening here? Why am I seeing SQL statements? Oh boy. Not using room. Okay, cool, but it does build, so I'll just run it quickly. Wow, okay. Let's see. White text on a white background. Explaining the permissions. Interesting. Okay, nice. Otherwise it looks pretty good. Stream is lagging a bit. Hopefully it disappears. Okay, cool. So it looks like a very minimalist version. No adding features and things. Adding favorites, rather. But it seems to work as it should. Alright, I want to just start the emulator as a separate window. It's easier to manage like that. Okay. I think we're pretty sorted here. I will actually just uninstall it first so we can see that permission thing again. Alright, let's see. No, I don't know, man. My internet or my ISP is a bit dodgy sometimes. I'm seeing no issues on my side, so connection to the server is a bit strange, maybe. Alright. So, this is what we get. Okay, so for anyone who's not familiar, these people that are applying for my company have to write a simple weather app, and it just shows the weather forecast for 5 days for your current location. So obviously it uses the GPS. That's all they have to do, really. And it has to be a specific design as well. As you can see, this is what you see the first time you start it. And it says, we will need to access your location to show your current... Your current and weather forecast. Okay. But as you can see, that's not a great UX. I have to look at it at all strange angles to try and figure out what's going on there. Maybe they tested it on dark theme. You know, you can force your system to use dark theme, so maybe that's what they tested on. But anywho, so then at least once you grant it, well, then you grant it like that, and then it just shows the weather. I mean, yeah, and this is all that's implemented. So this menu at the top is just a debate, doesn't do anything, and the rest of it, yeah, there's no clicking or extra functionality. So this is the bare minimum that we asked them to do. And then they can do things like favorites. Lagging again a bit. Yeah, my ISP, I can't really do much, sadly. So they can do extra functionality like add favorites, locations, and view the favorites on a map and that kind of thing. But that's not here, so that's fine. We'll see what is implemented. Alright, now I think my location is set on Mountain View. Oh, not that one. No, this is still South Africa. Hey. Okay, there you go. That's better, so I'm just checking that the weather does actually change. Yes, there you go. Nice. That's cool, and as you can see, the background and image and colors have all changed to match the new location, which is sunny as opposed to cloudy, like the previous one was. So if I choose a new location, yeah, the temperature changed, but it's apparently still sunny in there. London surely won't be sunny. Oh, it's still picking up on the old one. Yeah, so it is in the UK. There you go. Well, it's apparently 22, that's quite warm. But now the background is back to being cloudy. And yeah, that's pretty much the requirements. And then to show the forecast for the next 5 days, which seems to be all implemented. So let's just have a look. Just tell me if it's really bad, if it keeps buffering the whole time. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get just gonna go on talking. But if it's bad, then it doesn't really help if I just talk and you can't hear anything. So in the app, we have, which intrigued me, we have a... Oh, this is in the debug folder. So anyway, we had the top level Java folder, you know, source main Java, that kind of thing, and then there's also a Kotlin one, which typically you would want to put them all together. Unless you had some Java in the old one, I don't know, but this is obviously a new app, so you probably want to put them together, but maybe this is a SQLite thing. Oh, you see it's a generated class, warns me at the top. Okay, that does explain it a bit, so... Okay, you see, I was not aware that that's how SQLite works. By generating code. That makes a bit more sense why I was seeing these SQL statements and things. Buffering again. Yeah, so SQLite apparently generates code for you, so I don't think I really need to look at these files, because they're generated by the library. So I'll just close them, and we can look at the actual app code. So, as I mentioned, they were using Hilt, which is cool, I like it. And then Timber to do some logging, if it's a debug build. Okay, let's start on the data side of things. So we just got some entities, and I guess these are the DTOs basically for what is returned by the Open Weather API. Looks familiar after I started working on it myself. So yeah, those are pretty standard, but this one is a bit interesting. And it's got some extra functionality. Okay, so it's checking if the ID is within a certain range for it to be rainy, cloudy, or sunny. These should definitely be in a Spring resource. If it is used on the UI, which I imagine it is, yes. Those should be strings. This is pretty nice. I wouldn't maybe put it inside the DTO class, put it somewhere else. But it's a cool way to check. So I guess these magic numbers indicate what the conditions are. That's very interesting. And then another normal model like that. Okay, so those are pretty standard. Okay, code gen. Justin? Yeah, I was... my code was a bit different to what's going on here. So yeah, so those two services are pretty same. It is a loud motorbike. And then another DTO. I don't know why it's different from the entities. Okay. That's fine. Network is fine. Repositories, here we go. Getting to interesting stuff. Wait, sorry. Okay. So in the repo where we get the current weather, let me just see what's underneath. Oh my word, what is going on? We're all expert at changing the answers. This is true. This is true. I'm interested by this code though. Like there's some hard-coded values and some not. Okay, but we'll get to that. So, this top function, current weather, is what returns the data for the top part. Right, it just, you ask for the weather for the current city, or for a city, and you get that back. Let's see, so there's no caching. What is this? Unreachable code, because the return's all inside as well. So I was just grabbing it from the API, and I'm seeing I'm still buffering. Is the buffering bad? Do I need to restart my router? Or is it bearable? So if the response is successful, double bang operator is not so cool. Then we save it to... Okay, save it to a database. That is this lovely function. Jeez, what is going on? Is this... Okay, this is saving it in the SQL Delight thingy. I can't really comment on this because I've not used it myself. So this is just pretty much mapping the response object from the API to the database model. I mean, it's pretty standard. So nothing too interesting, I suppose. I just would like maybe here... You know, this thing could be empty theoretically. This is a list. Yeah, the list, and this will throw an exception. But it does have a generic catch for all exceptions. But typically you want to check the size if there's at least one element. You know, or you would say first or null. And then if it's null, you would probably just not do anything. But anywho. No buffering. Okay, that's cool. On my preview here, it keeps loading every now and then, but I guess that's fine. So, here we save it if it's successful, and then return success. Oh, if it fails, now then you try to load it. Interesting. Okay, so it always tries to fetch from the service and then it falls back to the local cache if it fails. Otherwise it doesn't use the local cache if you always online. Interesting approach. I would maybe cache it for like 5 minutes and then, well, I don't know what would be best, but this still works actually. This will then allow the offline operation of the app to work as normal. So we had that save function, and then this is loading, right? Yes, so this is then loading from the database and converting it back to the API model. So this is, I guess, a bit unfortunate because now you have all these fields that you don't use, but you have to give them a value. Whereas the database model only stores stuff you care about. So maybe introduce a new model that, you know, a UI one. Or I don't know what you would call it, but your own model that you return here instead of the service DTO. Then you can return only the fields you care about and load only the fields you care about from the database. And then this function, this constructor call, wow, would be a lot shorter if you only had to pass the things you cared about. And then fetching the 5-day forecast. Okay, so this always gets it from the service. There's no caching for that. Interesting. So let's just see what happens if I do go offline. Swipe out of memory just to be extra annoying. And there, okay. As expected, so you get just the current weather conditions, but no forecast. So I guess that's fine. It shows you something at least. And then it shows you the time that it was last fetched, which is also quite nice. I always like that when you kind of tell people what's going on so that they know, okay, this weather is maybe a bit out of date. I would have also liked to maybe see the city name here. Maybe that's just my personal preference. And then there, when we open it again, when we online, it fetches everything as expected. Cool. Does it look like composable exactly? But meanwhile, this is just constructing pretty much one object. And yeah, I do not like... as I say, it's unfortunate trying to reconstruct this whole object, but you only know part of the data. Then you have to make up the rest of it. I would have maybe left this empty, or I don't think it's nullable. Just made it empty, otherwise you're going to get this data and it might confuse you on the UI if you try and debug a problem, like where is this wind speed coming from? Anyway, I think I've gone on enough about that. Okay, just closing that. So that was the repository. We have some hilt stuff, so let's have a look. We have a network module providing the URL. Cool. And in, okay, providing the HTTP client. It's a singleton, that's good. Retrofit, also a singleton. Okay, if it's debug, then you'll add a logging interceptor. Makes sense, help you debug failing calls. Retrofit. Oh, interesting. So here, doing some customization on the JSON deserializing. Does it return dates? I seem to remember it returns a... Yeah, it returns a long. So I don't know why that would be necessary to specify. I mean, if you had this as a date, maybe. But it's not in this case. Alright, and then just creating the retrofit servers. This could probably also be singleton, but not the end of the world. Just a comment on this. I would say it's fine, but maybe for simple things like primitives, well, that's not really a primitive, but I would probably use a qualifier here. Otherwise you end up like injecting a random string, and it could just be a bit confusing, but I mean, again, it's not the end of the world. Maybe you want to say, you'd maybe add a qualifier like that that says this string is a base URL or a retrofit URL or something. Not too much of a big deal. Cool, and then the database module, just constructing presumably standard SQLite stuff. I don't really know what goes on, so hopefully it's it's done properly. Weather queries, that's a generated object, yeah. I don't know if it's safe to make that a singleton. I would imagine it might be, but I'm not too sure. Oh yes. No, it's still a long for when the data was cached. I'm not sure. I'm not really too fussed about it. Hey, people love sealed classes, hey? You have a failure. You have a general failure or a network failure. I would expect to see a status code here, maybe. Otherwise, why do you need to distinguish between them? But that's kind of cool. So this is what I saw earlier. We have an interactor, a base interactor. I have PTSD from classes like this, but just be careful of putting generics all over the place in interfaces like this. It just ends up making it a bit tricky to follow, especially for newer people on the project. So what is this? Current weather interactor. And the name doesn't tell you anything either. Like, I don't know what this does. I have to look at the code. Anywho. So it implements interactor with params. This object. And current weather. Oh, is this like a use case, I guess? that I've seen before. This to me, it's so unnecessary. I would just call the repo from the view model. Seems to just add more complexity here. I mean, I suppose other than the try catch, like this would be perfectly fine in the view model. And a similar thing for the 5-day forecast. Typically, if you need to, I don't know, this is again in my opinion, so you might feel differently, but if you need to do lots of transformation to the data, like maybe here you wanted to, or in the 5-day forecast, you wanted to like extract some fields only, or change them, or add new fields to the response. That's fine in a repo, in my opinion. Like if you're transforming the data, it can be in a repo call, so I feel like it's not really necessary here to have this whole separate interactor or use case pattern. But again, I've not seen it anywhere implemented in like a proper production app, so maybe I'm not understanding the benefits. So we have another sealed class for result, success, error, and loading. And then this error has that other failure thing. So then you can see what exactly the failure was. And then the success has the data, of course. That also has cached at. Okay, we'll see where that's used in the activity, but oh, okay, so it's nullable. So when do we return that? Jeez, what is going on here? I guess you only set that field when you actually return cached data. Makes sense. Alright. So overall, this project is pretty good so far. Doesn't feel too over-engineered and too complicated. And then I go and see a base activity, and then my mind has changed. Okay, this... I changed my mind about changing my mind. This kind of thing for a base activity is fine, but I wouldn't add too much more. Why not app compat activity? I guess you don't need it on compose anymore. But here I would maybe rename it to like compose activity. But that's pretty cool. So you set the content and then you call that composable, which then is implemented in the main activity, which is so many lines of code. Holy Java. Oh my word. 750 lines. No, man. Okay, you have previews in here as well, which kind of explains it with these large data structures. Oh, wow. Okay, wait, how many previews do we have here? Can I not minimize this somehow? Okay, there, I collapsed all of the code, so... 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 previews, which... Okay, that adds a lot of code. That adds 300 lines of code of just previews. Your ISP crapped out. Are you sure it's not me again? So, okay, I was looking at all these composables. Let's just open the split view, whatever it's called. Thank you, Justin. Okay, this is really neat. Zoom, 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 zoom. This is awesome, man. Composables and previews and stuff. I don't know what this is supposed to be previewing. The 5-day forecast. But I can't see anything. And then there's the last one, nice, for the forecast items. Mods, ban that guy. Talking about Swift UI here. Blacked out for 30 minutes. Oh. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Sorry. Okay, so... Oh, wait. We have more Oh. I'm blind, never mind. So we have those previews, which adds 300 lines. Which is stuff that's never used at runtime. But let's just start at the top. Whew. Okay, so we have the permissions. Typical warnings here. But that's fine, because they... Oh wait, let me just see the composable actually. This is the root of the screen now. And just a reminder, it looks like this. Why is it not loading stuff? Hello? Am I still online? I am. Why is this not... Huh? Is that an Easter egg that they added? What is happening? Send help. Let me just rerun it. Why has it stopped working suddenly? Did I change something? I don't think so. It's the preview? Just exit presentation mode quick. No, I ran the main app. I also thought it was a preview at first. Let me just uninstall. Huh. Mods, ban that guy again, talking about iOS. Let me just check the logs to see. I don't want to leak his API key, but... Is the service failing suddenly? How does it suddenly break? What? Okay. I'm not seeing any logs. The GPS is broken, maybe? I'm so baked. I'll cold boot the emulator. I have no idea, it was working so well earlier. Ah, interesting. Key has expired, maybe, but I didn't see any logs from the services. What? I mean, I think that's what is the case then, but... Okay, I put breakpoints in, I guess. Let's do some debugging for a change. There. All the iOS talk made the app crash. It's not even hitting the breakpoint. Did I change something? I don't think I changed anything that I didn't unchange. I'm so confused. Oh. Oh no, it's still called super. Never mind. Didn't change anything in here. Oh. Nice. I think Cybershark, was it you that said there's... I must check out accompanist? Because I see they have this permission thing now in here. It's permission required composable, which is awesome. Permission state. Okay, but that is pretty sick. I need to check that at some point. Wow, this is a fat ass function. Okay, I must definitely note it down then. Yeah. I don't know why I thought it was for like drawing stuff or something. I have it in the back of my head. But if it's got a lot of general stuff, then that would be definitely useful to pull in. Okay, requesting multiple permissions. You give it the permissions. String resources are still a thing in Compose, guys. But anyway, so when it's not granted, you'll do this composable. Huh? What's the difference between not granted and not available? Oh, this is the before state to show the rationale, I guess. Yeah, that's right, that's right. So this is to show with that lovely white text on white background thing. So this is what that permission not granted thing is doing. Showing text and then a button. So if I do that and I deny it, I don't think it changed. But then it goes in and starts working. Seems cool. Well, this function seems like really complicated. But then, okay, the final thing is... The final lambda is the actual content you show once the screen... Once they have allowed it. Do you allow a permission? Oh. Okay, so they're using the last location thing here. Which maybe I need to... do this. Oh, there you go. That's that last location thing. I guess it was returning null in this case. Yes, okay. So the last location thing seems a bit dodge. I don't know if it's emulator purposes, but I had to just open up Google Maps and then it started working again. Sorry. Waiting for a day where we can do localizations. Yes. But for now, string resources all the way. Okay, so this composable, once the permission's granted, we show main screen. Passing in some stuff. The loading state, the current weather and the forecast, and refresh. Holy cow, this is a lot of stuff going on in here. Remembering the theme. So when the current weather was got successfully, blah blah blah. Again, using first on a list will crash if it's empty. Just be careful of that. And then we just update the theme based on the conditions. Pretty simple. My phone is annoying me a bit. Sorry, I'm just seeing if I've missed any fire. We're doing a release, or preparing for a release, so I'm just seeing if anything is broken. But it looks kind of fun. Doesn't like being jumped between the countries. Yeah, I think it maybe confused stuff a bit. Is there a recycler view? We'll see. Probably a lazy column, which is the equivalent of a recycler view. Scaffold. Okay, so I guess then this is the actual start of the content. You can go there. Now side effects. Schedule an effect to run when the current composition completes successfully. I still need to try and understand when to use this. Same terminology, or is that the side effect? Okay, so they use the side effect to update the... I guess it's kind of like a callback after a composition runs that you can use to update stuff. It's kind of what I'm understanding. So after the view is refreshed, they update the status bar and navigation bar color based on the current theme. And now my... what is this called again? The thing doesn't work to switch between themes. Easter egg, that one. Surface, we have a swipe refresh. Okay, nice. Only on the bottom part, apparently. Scaffold is flutter, alright. Not used it too much. Swipe refresh, is that part of the official compose? No, also accompanist. Wow. I definitely need to check that out. So then it's refreshing when the loading state is true. And then when refresh happens, we... Okay, just go and get the data again. Pretty straightforward. Nice. This is pretty much the whole screen over here. Shows a column with the current weather, which is the top half. Then the divider, and then the forecast. Oh, here's the Easter egg. Oh yes, and you get access to all of these default... Oh, it's even a vector, but it's done inside Compose. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's nice. Who needs XML anymore at all? But that's nice. Just drawing the little menu at the top left, the 3 bars. Nice. Cool, so we'll take a look at the top half of the screen. Just make some more space. Sorry. "11 libraries. Nice. I will definitely check it. Check it to see what I'm missing out on. So here we just remember a lot of stuff. These 3 values, I guess. The average, minimum, maximum, the description, when it was cached at, if we're offline. And passing in over here the weather state, so I'm guessing that's just... I don't think you need to make this a state, do you? You could just pass in the result itself. But anyway, that's just passing in the result of the service call, yeah. You have to go through a little bit of a goose chase to find where it comes from, but that's fine. So then, if it's successful, we will just update all of the stuff, right? Yeah, setting those, updating those states, displaying the cached date if it's applicable, description, yes. Alright, and this column is the min, current, and max temperatures. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Sorry, so it's first the background, apparently. Wait, that's not even displaying anything yet. Okay. Wow, so this is the start of the screen. Like halfway down the file. Hot topic. Passing the value only versus the state differs. Oh, is it? Okay, which one is better? Because from the examples I see, they just pass a string around or something. No, for showing the username or whatever. Okay, so we show the background, which is this cloudy thing. Then we... composition local. This is a bit over my head, to be honest. But then showing the temperature, the description, and if there's a cached at time, showing that. String resources, bruh. So what is this song? Oh, it's a mix. Nice. I still need to read up more on composition local. But it appears they use it to switch alpha. Interesting way of doing it. Anywho, now we have the row of these 3 temperature values here. Pretty straightforward. It's just actually 3 columns with the text and a label underneath. I'm using the material theme to style it differently. Whew. Okay, halfway down the file now. 340 lines in. We have the... Oh, my voice is going away. Sorry. I apparently don't talk that much during the day. This composable for the bottom half of the forecast. Wait, why do we... It causes multiple smaller remember as state field. Okay. Wow. There's so much to read up on for compose. All these little considerations to make sure that you don't have unexpected things going on. What happens if you drop location middle of ocean? I mean, there's still weather there, so it should work. Okay, how far out can we actually go? Right about here. Did it work? Oh, there we go. It was 25 or something, or 22, and now it's 9. So there you go, Goodman. You got your answer. It still shows you the weather. Impressive that they have data on that in the Open Weather API. But you see, the thing is, it uses last location, so it doesn't look like until you go to maps or something, then it updates. That's a bit annoying. It seems like the app doesn't request location itself. But anywho, Antarctica. Let's see, I wonder how cold it is. There's nothing around. Minus 60 degrees Celsius. I mean, I don't know what I expected. It's pretty cold. Here I am thinking it's cold outside and it's around 9 degrees and this is minus 60. Wow. $10 here. Okay, sorry, getting distracted. So the composable for the bottom half of the screen. I don't know, it feels like there's too much logic happening here. Like, adding stuff to a map, you know, the map of the date to the weather, maybe should be in a view model, maybe even a repo. Because you're asking the repo, right? Repo. Yeah, you explicitly is getting the forecast for 5 days, so I would maybe just return that map thing over here. Let the repo do the heavy lifting and simplify the view a bit. Okay, let me just close all the other tabs actually. They learn stuff effect. Yeah, it's. Let me just see actually, was there a CV for this guy? No. Yeah, again, it's hard to tell. I don't know how much experience this person has. Maybe 10 years, maybe 10 weeks. I do not know. I mean, it's... People will find different things interesting. Maybe he really loves compose. And there's always going to be stuff that is on the trickier side of things to understand. So just don't give up, Aditya. Yeah, last location, I do remember reading that in the docs where it's, you know, efficient and doesn't use much power. But then you only get an update for it once every while, which for weather apps would probably be fine. But the issue is that when it returns null sometimes, then you would probably want to request your current location. Maybe that's what they should do. There's no use you get null back, and then you just kind of stuck. Show an empty screen. Okay, so filtering out days that are on today. Yes, filtering out everything today or earlier. Which makes sense, because that 5-day forecast gives you back the forecast from today, from your current time onwards. Not just the next 5 days, so you have to get rid of all that other data. And then grouping by the time. Okay, nice. So zeroing the time, but not the date component. Because the 5-day forecast returns like 8 forecasts for each day. So then you need to filter out the multiple ones on each same day, because you only need one from each day. So how is this actually used? Adding all that stuff. Yeah, getting the keys, which will be the dates. Oof, more double banging. And getting the first one. So I believe the first one in multiple things would be midnight. And then every 3 hours from there. Learning rates are super different. Got hired. What is SDE2? I'm not familiar with that acronym. Is it like a senior? Yeah, don't give up. Okay, yeah, so you're asking... I think it was Aditya. Yeah, the recycler view. So you use a lazy column, which is pretty much the equivalent. It will lazily load items as you scroll down. And it's actually just so easy to do it. This is all the code you need. There's no adapter, no view holder, XML layouts for the items. You just create a lazy column and then you use this items function and pass it in the list that you're working on. And then inside this lambda and inside the body, you just construct what a single item looks like. That's all you need to do. So you can see from here they call the day forecast row composable, which is just one of these entries here. That's how easy it is to do a lazy column in Compose. It's really nice. It's like mid-senior. All right. I'm lazy, like ultra lazy column. Okay, this is pretty much the last composable that we have, so almost done. Inside here, it shows off the day, little icon for the conditions, and the temperature. It's pretty straightforward. So just remembering the temperature, the icon, and determining the icon based on the conditions. Creating a row. Creating the day label using the date formatter. Yes, exactly. It's so much easier. When you're done writing a lazy column, you think, is that all? Surely I'm missing something. But then it just works. It's very nice. Okay, I must remember you have this weight modifier that you can use. Probably not necessary here, since everything is weight 1. You could probably just leave it out. Oh, maybe if you leave it out, then it's all squished. But then isn't there that horizontal inside a row? Yeah, horizontal. And this autocomplete doesn't work sometimes. So instead of using a weight on each row or on each item in the row, you can just use arrangement. And I think the one that would be using here is space evenly. Let's just see if I'm imagining it. So I'm going to just take out the weight modifiers from each of them. Now it should get squished in theory. Yes, okay, so as I expected, take out the weight, they get squashed together, and then you can add in the arrangement, the horizontal arrangement, and it should be back to normal. Oh, or not. Wait, what? I thought that was the right one. Space evenly? Oh, space between, sorry. Alright, so that's the issue. That looks terrible. Designers will gonna have a heart attack looking at this. Okay, so you need to use weight then, so that they all are aligned, because otherwise what it's trying to do is keep the space in between these two the same. But then it only looks at that item. Okay, never mind. So the weight modifier is good to know about for sure. I think that's pretty much all of the code to look at. Only composes visible items. Exactly, yeah, exactly. That's also true. No need for diffutil and trying to figure out, have my item changed and are contents the same and is item the same? It's really powerful to know that. It just automatically knows what's changed if you write it properly. Cool, so the rest of the functions below, which is like almost half the file, is just previews and constructing the objects. So let's just have a look again at the previews, which I really appreciate. It makes it easy to see what's happening. Need to rebuild apparently. So then you can see, just by making a composable that is also a preview, you can set up how it should display in the editor. Oh, and you can click on stuff too. That's nice. And that takes you to the declaration. So theoretically, if I change this from 16 bit slow. There you go. Nice, so you can just update the preview accordingly. Looks weird, but if you count by DPs, it's right. Yeah, exactly. It's if you write it properly, it's because it's a whole different way of thinking. You have to make sure you understand what's going on. When does stuff recompose? How do I store state properly? You can't just go writing stuff with the same mindset as the old view system. Because as I'm sure people have seen, if you chuck in an edit text or a text field as it's called, you type in text but nothing appears until you actually save that state in a remember field. So once you've got the hang of it, I imagine it just becomes fun instead of worrying. Anywho, so that's pretty cool because they added previews for the rainy state and the cloudy state. I don't know which one. Where is this preview? The third one. Hey. Main screen. Current weather screen. Forecast weather screen. Yeah, this one. So I don't know which one this is supposed to be calling. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Where is this? So this is supposed to be, I guess it's all... Wait, you can change the background, right, in a preview? Yes, there you go. Color dot gray. I kind of wish it automatically refreshed this a bit better. Ooh. Huh? What? Okay, it's interesting that you can't use a color object. I don't know how. Is that how you do gray? Yeah. No? What? Come on, man. Yes, exactly. It won't even show the text at all that you just typed in. Oh, come on. Edit here in Compose. Yes, there is a constraint layout in Compose. I've not used it yet, but I would imagine it works similar to the XML one where you constrain elements to each other. So for complex layouts that have a lot of stuff all relative to each other, it would be good to use that instead of having nested rows and columns all the time. Can you just stop saying it's out of date, please? I want to just see something here. I don't know what's going on, why this one doesn't want to work. Yeah, so I can do this, the value thing. Green dot value, but it's a U long. Instead of just a long. Come on, man. No, you can't do that because it's a compile time thing. It's an annotation. Okay, that makes sense then. why it has to be a hex value. Anyway, I'll give up on that composable, on that preview. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all for this one. Of course, we have our example tests, making sure that JVM is working. But all in all, a pretty neat app. Main thing is actually string resources. Okay, can this thing go away now? I'm surprised that no string resources are used, considering like compose is used and other fancy things. I mean, otherwise I don't have any major issues. I think that's pretty good. Or maybe a bit less logic in all the composables. Oh, I didn't look at the view model yet. Whoops. You're asking the hard questions now. I want to just finish this quickly. Yeah, okay, so this is a use case, as we saw earlier. It's just called Interactor, which I hate that name. But anywho, using live data. Wait, is this? Oh, using a compose state in the view model. Interesting, I would have maybe made that a live data as well. Seems a bit dodgy to be leaking compose stuff into other layers. But then coroutines as well. Good. Then we say it's loading, and then we say it's loading again. Calling the interactor to get the weather, and then showing it on the UI and not loading anymore. We get an error. Post an error. Similar for the 5-day forecast, I would imagine. I don't know why you'd have units here. I guess if it can be nice if you add a setting for the user to change the unit that they want to see. And then similar stuff, we're loading, we fetch it from the interactor, update it, and post a value if it's an error. Nice. Yeah, pretty good all in all. Just gonna take a quick 1-minute break, BRB. Okay. Yeah, pretty much done. pretty much. Again, no real concerns, looks pretty good to me. I'm still in two minds about this use case pattern thing. But I guess it is an accepted way of doing things, so I can't be hating too much. It's just... and the need to add generics in an interface here kind of messes you up, because then you're restricted to one parameter. Hence this params object that is used to pass in multiple values. Actually, yeah, this try catch isn't even necessary because it's all done in the repo already. Right, so I feel like this interactor thing is not really necessary. Yeah. Huh? Is that song saying Cutie Pie or PewDiePie?
Seriously. I am at least.
I'm not sure. I suppose it as I say, it can make sense in some cases. Maybe if you do have a really complicated screen, then it can help to prevent the repo from getting too thick. But I think, like, doing stuff like this just for architecture and just for the sake of having a use case implemented, it just feels unnecessary. It's like sticking so strictly to the pattern that it ends up actually being a bit less great. I mean, let me just go back to the view model here. Okay, or not. Okay, so at least here they are injecting the concrete type, so it's a bit easier to see what's happening. But, you know, you could have done something like have an interface, I don't know what you would call it, and then that thing would extend, you know, that other thing, and then here you implement that. Why does that not work? What am I doing wrong? Oh, okay, that's a model. My bad. You know, sometimes you see people going a bit overboard, and then you have an interface that extends another interface, then you implement that interface. And then in here, in the view model, you would inject the interface like that. And that's still kind of alright, because you can go to it, and then you can go down, go to declaration. But then with Dagger, you can, dare I say, abuse it a bit more. You could say interactor. And then you would add the type parameters here. Oh my gosh, this is hurting already. Like that. When you do something like this, you inject some really generic type. It's so hard to find what's going on here. Because then you go there and you're like, well, how do I find the real thing? And then you have to look at all the implementations, and if there's a lot, it can get complicated. Maybe in Dagger you would even have like a qualifier, so that the generics don't mess up things. Oh, anyway, that's just my opinion. I like to rage a bit, but it's not just rage, it's trying to explain my thoughts. Change the post value. Yeah, the interface is just for the sake of having a common thing to extend from, I think. If I had to do something like this, I would probably not have an interface, and then just add the constructor, the parameters directly here. Just simplifies it a bit. And yeah, the the parameters are var for some reason. What? Private val, please. I'm hoping that still runs. Ah, we get the null location again. Not like this. They all have var. Interactor. Oh, why? Yeah. Should definitely be val and private. Oh, and the repo as well. Meh. At least some of them are private. But I wanted to say something. I've seen your bad stuff. This is actually alright because they're not abused here. It's just a case of, oh, it could be a private val, but sometimes you see cases, I don't even know, for testing, where say if there was no dagger here, it's just a normal thing, then you have a default value. Or not even, this is not even a constructor parameter, it would just be a normal thing in the class. Oh boy. And then in the test, right, since it's initialized here, you go and set it to a mock when you create the view model, and it's like, oh. So much easier to just do this and then inject the mock version of those things. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much done. Oh, I need to just check. I'm completely forgetting about my list that I need to check off. What is OneDrive doing? Okay. Oh, just create a new one. So that uses the correct designs, current location, open with APIs, background changes, favorites, offline. We already saw it works. Half offline, it doesn't store all the data. Okay, that's actually pretty much all then. Testing, there are none. But I did see... Let me just see on the website. CI/CD things. Nice, there is CI/CD. Very few people actually do that. And... there was even... Let me just check this thing, but there was a detect configuration file. I don't think there's any secret stuff in here. So they implemented static code analysis, which is also a nice to have. Yeah. So I don't speak detect YAML file language. But I guess it's just configuration for a whole lot of stuff. And enabling or disabling all these other rules. Seems pretty powerful, to be honest. Yeah, it's kind of the same as a setter. What the CR and CD? So it's just automated builds. When you make some changes and you push to the server, whether it's GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, one of those, then the server will actually run or build your code and run tests and whatever else you choose for it to do. So then you can see if stuff breaks. Ideally, the build will fail if it should, and then send notifications or whatever for people to fix things. It's continuous integration. It's always running when stuff is merged in. Maybe not so useful for if you're working on a project solo, but definitely if you're in a team, it's useful. So that's CI, continuous integration, always running builds when you merge in changes. CD, continuous delivery. That's more around service, backend stuff, I believe. If you... Is it continuous delivery? It is, or deployment. I forget what it stands for. You just use the acronym so much and it loses meaning. But CD, I believe, is deploying, if this website will load. Oh, delivery, okay. Continuous integration and continuous delivery. This is a learning stream, everyone, believe me. Continuous delivery, when you make changes and then it will actually deploy them into whatever environment there is. I mean, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of different things involved. I'm just Googling it. Yeah, but deploying your backend to a staging environment when you merge changes, things like that. Yeah, it's CD. I guess it depends on what specifically that happens at that place. Essentially, it's automating stuff. So you don't manually have to send out builds to testers if you have them and deploy changes to the environment. Whenever you merge in changes, stuff will happen for you. Stuff will happen. Cool, well, I'm pretty much done. I need to just write my report. Just chill a bit. Otherwise, Tuesday is done, finally. I know, Cybershark, you're almost living in Wednesday, aren't you? How is it talking to us from the future? Hmm. Yeah, Android. Yeah, pretty much exactly what we use at the bank. We don't really automate releases. Well, we do, but mainly, yeah, uploading to the store. Ugh, what am I saying? Uploading to our test distribution center, whatever. The testers can get the new builds. And also, yeah, uploading beta versions to the actual Play Store. Okay. So again, I have no idea if this is a senior, junior, intermediate, whatever. That's kind of hard to say. I'm just gonna write down some notes here. Not implemented. Didn't implement favorites, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's not a requirement. Oh my gosh. Hey Dave, hello. Cybershark does know all the things. The last place just pushed debug profile APK to Jira. It's like interesting. Interessant. So, view weather while offline, it works, but does not work. Oh, it's not show forecast when offline. Okay, what else? Unit testing not implemented. I also look a bit of a sneaky one at how much commented out code there is. And there's actually none, which is very impressive. Very cool. Would giving a candidate an existing app and requiring a new feature to be added? That probably would be, actually, Dave. That's a good point. You give them some, I don't know, potentially questionable app architecture and ask them to add something to it. Exactly. That would actually be a very interesting test to see, do they do the bare minimum? Or do they try to improve it a little bit, maybe? Maybe improve the architecture slightly. That is definitely, though, something to think about. Yes, I wouldn't go so far as to say Java. Like, that's a bit harsh. Okay, just keep it calm here. Maybe throw in some Java files that they will have to change. Yeah, I mean, creating a new app from scratch is not really something you'll do that often in the real world, I think. Maybe if you go work for a startup, it will be, but most of the time you join maybe a big company where there's a huge thing already working. Well, working. And then you must adapt. That will definitely be a better test for where I work. Seeing how people can actually, sorry, I'm distracted, can actually adapt to an existing code base. How do I view pull requests that were made? I see there's mention of pull requests, so I want to see. Is it a pull request or is it just a bait again? Oh, merge requests it's called. Nice, there have been 4 of them. Okay, cool. Also look at your Git usage to see, do you do everything in one huge ass commit or do you split it up properly with good messages? Anyway, for the first Compose app I've reviewed, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. No, man. Ice cream sandwich. Nah. I'd struggle. Exactly. Yeah, Cybershark, it is a more in-depth challenge. Justin comes in out of nowhere with the flames throwing at Dave. Mods banned that guy for a 3rd time for being toxic. Alright, so I'm just gonna write some general comments on architecture, and I mean, it's pretty good. Again, no real major problems. Well written, but lacks some of the extra functionality like favorites and stuff. What else? Oh, string resources. Lots of hard-coded strings in the Kotlin files. Would use string resources instead. What else? What else was I thinking of? Nothing, I don't think. You're not old, Dave. Justin is just a Zoomer. As in Z-O-O-M-E-R. He's hip with all the latest cool kids these days. Good old days without runtime permissions. I think you mean the lazy old days when you just chucked all your permissions in the manifest and they had to accept all of them. He's a Zoom. That's a bit rude. Okay, okay, I just need to... The UI is written in Jetpack Compose, which is a big plus. Again, I don't know what this person is, how much experience they have. It seems like they have a lot. Wait, what? Run CLI commands to the OS from apps. No way. That is dodge, but I think they've improved a lot. Sorry, I remember now. I don't know if Aditya is still here. Sorry, I saw you asked what I would rate this out of 10, but I just got distracted. So if you're still here, out of 10, I would probably rate this like an 8, maybe. Maybe a 7, because I would like to see some tests. If this is a senior dev, I would be a bit more strict, like a 6 maybe. But it's hard to tell. Oh, you're here, cool. Yeah, because this code, it's well done. It's not overly complicated. It's not badly written. Just missing some tests, in my opinion. Yeah, true. Yeah, those functions are a little bit crazy. Setting up all the data, especially for the previews and all of that. I wanted to also comment. Right, so wait, where's the end of this? So this activity is basically 430 lines. Everything below is previews that are only used by the editor, so not great. It's probably good to move composables to separate files, I would imagine. That's what I would probably have done, because they are like custom views that probably would make sense in a separate file, and it's also easy because they're not supposed to have side effects. Right, it's just a function, and then you add parameters for whatever it needs. That's all. So it would be really easy to extract them to separate files. Makes the activity a lot smaller, a lot simpler. Yeah, and these... maybe I would have a test data file that just returns stuff. Well, that's a bit ugly because then it's not going to be used at runtime. So probably I would not actually do that. I'd probably just put these previews in the same file as the composable. Yeah, it is a bit much going on here. I mean, what, it's 750 lines. But still not too bad. I'm still learning Compose myself, so maybe what I'm saying is completely wrong. Not familiar with Compose. Oh yeah, I saw you said that. Sorry, I didn't see it earlier. But yeah, theoretically, the Compose functions are supposed to be side effect free, so not referencing fields and stuff, or static variables, anything like that. It's just a function that have some parameters, and then they call other Suspend or other Compose functions. That's all. So theoretically easy to extract, yes. I can have test Kotlin. How do you mean for the raw resources? You want to put test data in there? But yes, you can. That is a valid thing you can do. What did I score them? I'll give them a good score. Alright, I think I'm done with this one. Cool. Cool. No doubt. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Appreciate you stopping by. I'm still watching for your coding streams, by the way, your game dev. You must let me know when that's going to happen. Yeah, okay, so I see what you're saying. You could use that raw resources thing for test data. It might be tricky because then when you build a debug APK, that file won't exist. So you might have compilation errors depending on how you reference that file. But it may work out actually. How do I rename this thing? Alright, just gonna send out the email and then pretty much end the stream. So thanks everyone. As always, I appreciate everyone stopping by to watch me doing my work. My work after my work. So I do 8 hours and then I do this. So it makes it a bit more enjoyable being able to chat to people. That's not how you spell his name. I'm always scared that I'm accidentally sharing my screen. That would be very bad. Justin is here as well, still. Ditya, the next stream, I don't know. I do them when HR sends me the details of people who are applying, so I do them on the day that I get the email from HR. Yeah, the preview files can be, or the preview functions can be anywhere, but then if you try to say something like r.raw.testdata, that thing won't exist if you do a build that doesn't have that file. So if you add it to a test APK, it won't be part of debug, so that field won't be found, and you'll have a compile error, I think. So then what you could do is look it up by name, by a string name, and say if it doesn't exist, then you just have no test data. All right, email send. And done. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. So, yes, I'm happy with that project. I will definitely want to work with that person. They must just explain to me why use case pattern is good. You can remove, I would say it's fine to keep them. It's still nice to be able to have a preview of what it's going to look like. I'm just not 100% sure, do they get deleted when you compile the app? I want to just look it up quickly. Review. Doesn't really say. Preview. Okay, I don't care about all these things. Animations. Oh, there's a lot of documentation. Doesn't tell me. But yeah, I would say it's fine to have previews. Maybe you would have one preview for each composable. I want to just test it out actually. But I wouldn't go and add hundreds of previews, otherwise your code just gets quite a lot crazier. Yeah, theoretically that's true. The preview functions are unused, so maybe they just leave it to R8 ProGuard to remove those functions. But I wanted to actually just build and inspect the APK to see what actually does happen. Build, generate APK, no, not assigned one. Build APKs. Alright, analyze. Yes. Jeez, how do I find what dex file these things are in? They're not in here. So many dex files for such a small project. There we go. No, that's not what I wanted to click. Oh. Not there either. Ah, here we go. Wow, all the all of the hilt files as well. It's a bit tricky. Activity. Can I not decompile this or something? Oh my gosh. Anyone here speak bytecode? Oh, interesting. When I search for preview, though, no results come through. Man, I want to... Jeez, okay, main activity. Oh wow, we have a lot more. Oh, there it is, preview stuff. Well, I have no idea what's going on in bytecode, but I'm assuming just because these preview items are here that it is actually still included, at least in debug builds, so something to keep in mind, but you just make sure you don't... How do I get rid of this thing now? Main activity. Yeah, just make sure you don't actually call the preview functions from anywhere to make sure that they are unused, and then they'll get removed when you do ProGuarding or R8. You know, when you run a release build and you shrink the code, it will remove these unused functions. $300. Yeah, but anyway, good to know that composables are still in. Oh, I can't shrink this, hello? I guess it's a full screen thing. Composables are still included in the APK, so hopefully ProGuard helps out there. Alright, but yeah, I'm done. I need to go get some dinner and chill a bit. Thanks everyone for stopping by as usual. Appreciate it. Cybershark is like always here, even though it's midnight-ish for you, so I appreciate it. Aditya as well. Hopefully could help out and show some cool things in that project we just looked at. I mean, seeing Compose was nice. It was nice to see in the... What am I saying? Nice to see in a review for the first time. But yeah... Cool. Time for some dinner. Thanks everyone. We will see you whenever next time is. I don't know when it will be. Whenever I get the email, I will stream on the same day, probably. But yeah. Thanks to you guys and for supporting and for stopping by. And we'll see you in the next one. Cheers for now.